Well, all right. Well, welcome, neighbors, to the Best of the Story podcast. This podcast is to remind you that despite all that negative noise going on social media and the news these days with all the stuff that's going on, there's a loving God who wants to be in a relationship with you.
That's good.
Really?
That's great news.
The podcast is designed to give you hope and joy.
Mm-hmm.
Joy is a lasting feeling of contentment because you know that you're loved. It seemed like we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did. That was good.
Yeah. Well, funny how things come together, right? Well, if you want to know what joy really is, think of that one person that truly loves you, like your wife, perhaps, or the kids, or has loved you, shown you that love in your life, despite, not everything always going the way you wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
Even though you might argue about, I don't know, where to put the dishes or bedtimes or stuff like that, that person still loved you anyway. You knew that things would be better and that the situation was only temporary. So you knew that was just not going to stay that way. And overall, that things were going to be fine. That's kind of the joy that we're talking about here. Our first podcast here is getting to you to know more about the heart and mind behind this whole thing, why we're doing this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, let me introduce you to my fellow presenter today, Andrew Brinley, who I guess you would say, missions minister, jack of all trades.
I get to spend a lot of time talking with people like you, Patrick. People from our church are gifted and have lots of opportunity to minister and to encourage them to go new places and try new things. And I feel like that's kind of what we're doing today. We're trying something new. We're putting this message out on the internet for those of you who are looking for a good resource. And I believe Patrick is a great resource when it comes to counseling and addressing a lot of the topics that we face today in just the general culture we live in, which can be sometimes overwhelming at the very least, and at the most it can be life-ending for some people. And that is where we want to reach people so that they don't end up in that situation, right, Patrick?
Exactly. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah. So I have a few questions. I think people out there are going to want to know who you are.
Sure.
And kind of a little bit more about you. So this is a good opportunity for you to tell us more about yourself.
Sure.
And maybe to share what it is that brought you to a sense of conviction that this is something that needs to go out there and needs to be out there for people.
Okay.
So if there's anything else you want to add before I start shooting questions at you, though, maybe.
Just in general, I just wanted to say that this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And, it's kind of like other podcasts. This isn't an opinion-based thing based on experience and opinion. It's not necessarily something you should just go out and put, stake all your claims on.
Mm-hmm.
But if it makes sense to you, and some of the things that we're going to say in this podcast and other podcasts make sense to be something at least you want to think about. At least you'll know after some of these series of questions, hopefully, that it's coming from a source that has knowledge and experience and is trying to just direct you on a path the right way. If nothing else, this is, kind of like a phone book of life of this is some things you can try. And, like if you're looking for plumbers, there's plenty of plumbers in the phone book, but you still have to pick the one that you think's the best based off of word of mouth and other people. And this is kind of giving you that kind of background, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's always nice to know that you've had somebody who either has used those services before or somebody who themselves is an expert and trusts certain people. Even better than just an experience of a one-time usage, having a peer, somebody who's involved in that same trade who can say, yes, this person is qualified, credible, and somebody I would even use to get my plumbing done, or in your case, to go to and share my life problems with and hear about the wisdom that there is out there to be directed and guided, especially with regards to mental health and counseling and anything that kind of touches that sphere. And so I think this is a great place to start, and I hope that you get great interviews with lots of people. I think those are upcoming. But today, I think first of all, I want to interview you and ask you some really good questions. So
all right, go for it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What makes you do what you do, and why do you want to do this project in particular?
Okay. Well, I guess I would say that to answer that in a brief way is to say that, well, God just kind of made me this way or shaped me to be this way. Even from being smaller, I'm a firstborn. Was taught to be a leader and a teacher, and I was kind of born so that everybody was either way older than me or younger than me. Mm-hmm. So all the younger ones were like, well, how do you do this? Well, Patrick knows how to do it. Mm-hmm. How do you ride a bicycle? Well, Patrick knows how to ride a bicycle. Mm-hmm. It kind of started with that. And then, I at one point wanted to go into ministry, and that just didn't go the way I planned it to go, and due to circumstances beyond my control, which it's neither here nor there. It happened the way it happened because I didn't know what God's plan was. And a lot of times what we think we're going to do is not what God has planned for us to do.
Sure.
Sure, we go to school and we get the degrees and we gain the experience and all that stuff, but that's just a piece of the puzzle. But when you're going through getting the piece of the puzzle, you can't see the whole picture. You're only getting a piece. So I'm trying to make this briefer, but I do all of the things that I'm trying to do here because I know that the world is messed up. Watch the news 10 minutes and you'll see mostly negative stories, and you'll see anxiety and depression and post-traumatic stress, and nobody emphasizes things like post-traumatic growth, how you can power through things and use the things that you've learned to help other people grow through their experiences. You don't hear a lot about that. You know that, there are self-help programs out there, things like Celebrate Recovery that help people overcome things. At Landmark, we have a group called RSVP, for example, that really has been helpful. I want to get the word out that there is help and there's hope, and people can get better and they can overcome things. Doesn't mean it's not going to bother you from time to time. And you might even have a setback or two, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there.
That's right.
And this is to give joy and hope that people don't have to, just because you fall down doesn't mean you have to stay down.
That's so true. I was even listening to another radio program yesterday on Faith Radio where they were talking about the fact that the counselors today and the ministers today are all overwhelmed with the number of people who come in and need some form of counseling help. Whether you're a licensed counselor or whether you're a minister at this point in life, a pastor or a teacher or a priest, you are overwhelmed with the number of people who are vying for your time to be able to be helped. And one of the things that was prescribed on this program was that we really need to be training our laity, the people who are not professionals, to be good listeners, to listen and hear. And one of the things that I think that you're going to do is equip people to listen and hear better. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the important aspects of listening and how you've experienced those in your life?
This is a skill I've taught many times to people. I've tried to, and some people got it. If you really want to listen and get the content and feel the rapport between people, so you want to listen actively. But you also need to listen with space. So when someone is telling you something, whether, hey, I got those really great concert tickets, you'll never believe how much trouble I had to go through to get these concert tickets to Toby Mac or something like that, right? They're not just telling you about the concert tickets. They want to tell you the whole story. So to give them the space that they need to tell their story is giving them your time. Which helps them feel heard and appreciated and validated. That's a lot of times people are like, oh, you got some Toby Mac tickets. Oh, well, you got them, right? Okay, when are you going? People want to skip to the end of the story and not get the better part of however they were obtained. And that person doesn't feel like you really appreciate them very much. And the other things that you can do with active listening is you want to ask questions to clarify things. So what service did you get from SeatGeek? Did you get from Ticketmaster? Did you have to, barter with somebody? Did you cut somebody's grass to get their access to their tickets? what did you do? Or how many times did you have to go through this to click this and click here? And it was frustrating, but you still, just to understand. And then, you want to just clarify and maybe reflect back to them once you get the whole story. If you can calm them down, especially if they're excited about something, I can tell you, like last year, I went to my first NFL game ever, and I had tickets to see my team, the Steelers, play the Falcons, and up in
Did you wave
Atlanta.
the terrible towel?
No, I didn't. I wore my jersey though,
Okay.
and there were plenty of us in Steelers jerseys, and we did win.
Were you seated together or interspersed?
Interspersed.
Okay.
But the stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, was so awesome, was so cool, so like modern, and they have that, the halo ring, so you can't possibly miss anything. Atlanta knows how to bring it with the entertainment. Let me tell you, they had, every time there was a commercial break on TV, we had some kind of entertainment there. And I really thought the game would drag, but man, I was like, how's it halftime already? And see, just what you're doing right now, just listening to me and asking questions is how you really listen.
Well, sometimes I make the mistake of jumping to a conclusion, like in the example that you gave about your friend who's got the concert tickets to, say, Toby Mac. I don't know if they'd be getting them to Toby Mac. These days are expensive, but Toby Mac's great. I would jump to the conclusion if they said that they were inviting me to go with them.
Right.
And I made the mistake. I'm like, oh, wait, so we're going. When are we going? And they're like, oh, no.
No. I was just telling you the story. Yeah.
That's always a hard one, too, is when you insert yourself into the story and that person really wasn't thinking to insert you. They really just wanted a sounding board to hear some of their excitement and sense it and rejoice with them. So there's all kinds of reasons. Or there are other times where you might assume that the person's not involving you and they're trying really hard to involve you. And so, you got to listen. I've got a son right now who's getting to the point where, interactions with girls involve a lot of picking up of the nuances of hints and implications and not over assuming so that you don't embarrass yourself from time to time. But I definitely hear you on that. Communication is key. And you bring a counselor's perspective to how to listen and what to do, and I think that's really, really neat. I think one of the things that I think would be important to me as a listener is the part you talked about earlier, not knowing where to go, what specialists to talk to. If I have a son who's dealing with, school problems, a bully at school, and I want to share a little bit about how that affects me as a father, who would I want to talk to about that? How would I approach that? And I hope that you'll be able to bring some of those things. Are there ways that you feel like you could really help someone like me know who to go to with those problems?
That's what I want to do with this podcast. I want to bring other professionals in our community that specialize in certain areas, like working with teenagers, working with kids, maybe people who specialize in post-traumatic stress or anxiety or female change of life issues, when you get to the 40s and the 50s and the menopause and not the play, but the actual, I hear the play is hilarious, but anyway.
I haven't seen it. You'll have to tell me about it
Shakespeare
later.
has something to do with that from what I understand, the Shakespeare Festival here. But, there's different things. Some people specialize in certain disorders. Some people won't work with anyone who has bipolar because they're just like, that's just too over here and over there and stuff like that, are avoidant personality disorders. In fact, personality disorders, for someone to actually work with that is kind of hard to find. It's more on the psychiatrist spectrum of things, but there are really good Christian psychiatrists out there. But if you don't know about it, you're asking around, who is this and who is that? And, you might Google this or Google that, but if you're not looking specifically for a Christian counselor, you're going to get all kinds of answers. And people, of course, they have the counseling skills and they have the background and things to do stuff and not be Christian counselors, but you're going to get a spin on things that's differently approached. The whole thing's going to be approached differently if you don't have a Christian counselor. So that's why I want to make sure we highlight that for those specific issues. So I would talk with you. I talk about a family therapist that could bring not only just you, but your entire family unit in from time to time to help support your son and yourself. But I'd want to have someone that has, in my opinion, some Christian worldview on how we treat people, how we don't treat people, and how we don't retaliate like everybody seems to do X these days.
Mhm.
Just because you
Yeah.
feel it doesn't mean you should say it or tweet it.
Yeah. And social media is such a dangerous place to try and find the solution to a lot
Right.
of these internal problems. Hopefully, we won't be going there to find the solution. Interestingly enough, I did have an instance where there was a issue between my son and another child, and I was found out through the social interweb of relationships. I was able to be found, and we were able to communicate parent to parent about the topic. That was
Wow.
very healing to be
Good.
able to communicate parent to parent. But had it become a one-sided conversation, a diatribe instead of a dialogue, I think there could have been a lot more hurt done and damage done in that situation.
Mhm.
Thankfully, we have a lot of tools at our disposal. I feel like, though, it seems at times that the trustworthy counselors in our community are too few,
Yes.
and that may or may not be true. That's just my perception. What is your view as a professional in the field? Do you feel like there is enough out there? Do you feel like the market is saturated with people who are good counselors, or do you feel like there's really a deep need, like I've heard other places?
I think there's a deep need for people who will do quality, good counseling, but like I'm saying, be able to bring in the Christian perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with other clients, maybe because they're not Christian, they can still work with them
Mm-hmm.
based on their values and beliefs that they do have. However, but having people out there that really care and put the most innovative techniques
Mm-hmm.
into action and are certified to do what they say they can do, not just say, oh, well, I do family therapy, but you have absolutely no background in family therapy. Just because you took a class in college does not make you a family therapist.
Yeah.
Just like if I took a class on how to fix my car one day or YouTube something does not mean I'm an
Mechanic.
ASE, a certified mechanic with a patch on my sleeve. That does not make me a mechanic.
Well, tell me a little bit about your certifications that you have. I think people would like to know that. It sounds like you've just voiced one of those very big things that people want to know. What kind of certification is there?
Right. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here in this state of Alabama, which was difficult to obtain. If you've known anything about therapy stuff, you go through school, you get your bachelor's and whatever, you get your master's in what you're going to be in. Mine's in marriage and family therapy, and then postmasters for LPCs is 1,000 hours of postgraduate work under supervision of someone who's licensed. In marriage and family therapy, it's 3,000.
Oh wow!
And for LPCs, at least the way it used to be, as far as I understand it, you can count paperwork as your hours. LMFTs, paperwork doesn't matter. It only eyeball to eyeball.
So you have over 3,000 hours of counseling hours with people who have come to you and talked to you.
But then that's before you get your license.
Yeah. Just to get the license.
To get the license.
Wow.
That's
encouraging to know.
That weeds people out. That it's a lot of work, and the counseling exam is a national exam. So I don't live in California. Sorry. I don't live in California. I have no desire to live in California, but you have to know stuff that they're doing and new therapies that come out of California.
Sure. Well, there are people who come here from California every day. You've got a military population in this city, and there are a lot all over who travel, and so.
But California has laws that no other states do.
Sure.
But so there are 5 different versions of the license exam, and you don't know until you sit down for the test which version you're going to get. Okay. So you have to learn the laws in California that don't apply in New York, just in case you get those questions.
And those laws don't necessarily pertain all to how you would approach counseling, but much more about the legal ramifications if someone were to complain about some aspect of your counseling.
That and there are laws about you have to have certain people present and certain documents signed in certain settings you can't go to.
The ins and outs of insurance and whether it covers it or not. There's so many nuances to that profession, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, that's really encouraging to know that you have put in the hours, you've got the experience, and since you've completed your course of study and been counseling people, how long has it been now that you've been actively marriage and family.
I did work with several agencies here in the area. One for the longest time with the Lighthouse Counseling Center here in Montgomery. Worked there a good 13, almost 13 and a half years. Also worked with Bradford. That's a big company of substance abuse. They're private, so they're more insurance and more people that can afford things. Although they've done some really good work recently to accept Medicare and Medicaid for people, especially with detox, which is you need detox if you're in a serious situation, and they will now work with people on that scale. However, for longer term treatment, you need to work something out with them.
Sure.
But there's many agencies throughout the state of Alabama still that do substance abuse treatment. Alethea House being one of those that I work for. I have communicated with several facilities throughout the state of Alabama, Alta Point, Spectra Care, and Dothan.
So you have a wide network, is what you're telling me, of different counseling companies that you've worked with. You also have taught counseling and are currently teaching, I believe, some of those courses. So that's really encouraging as well. I don't want to get too bogged down in the details right now. Maybe there may be a portion where each one of those would be the subject of conversation for a podcast. But I think that it's good to know that you have a wide experience, and that's encouraging to me, at least. I'm sure will be to your hearers as well.
I hope so. I've been blessed to be able to teach counseling at different universities since 2014. So I've had students, because it's mainly been online, I've had students from Hawaii and, Virginia and New York and Texas and Florida and just all over the place. And military people who are deployed in Afghanistan or Kuwait or places they can't tell me where they are, but they take their class. So, all kinds of stuff. And it's been a blessing to have that diversity.
What have been some of the biggest blessings of doing this job for you? When you think back over more than 13 years of counseling and over 3,000 hours of preparation for this calling that the Lord has put upon your life, what have been some of the biggest blessings that have come out of it?
Well, in like the combined 20 years of counseling, some of the best blessings was just seeing people, not believe that anything could change, believing that they would just go back into the black hole of that constant circle of I'm okay, but no, I'm not. Then I'm used, and then I'm in trouble again, but just giving that little inkling of hope that things can be different, putting in the effort and having the support of the counseling and then support groups and other things that we've had them do to help improve their lives, and then seeing the slight increase of, hey, I met a goal. I see I can do something different, and then that goal becomes, even though it's a small goal, becomes a catalyst that I believe I can do other goals. And then finally, by the time they graduated program, to be like, I don't even look the same. I look healthy. I have clothes that don't smell like drugs. People might have a job. They might have worked with DHR or other things to get possession of their kids back, or at least parental custody with their kids back. People to put in the effort and get a job back, or even get promoted because they had the stick to itness, if you will, to set a goal like, I'm going to go to GED classes, I'm going to get my GED, and then when I do, that boss that says, son, you could finally get somewhere in this course if you had some education. I had a guy that really worked hard on that. He came to me, he did work, and he worked to get his GED, he passed it, and sure enough, his boss said, if you pass this, I'll promote you. And he promoted it. And that he saw the overall goal of that was not just for himself, because when he got promoted, then that meant he had medical insurance. That meant he could take care of his family better. He saw that putting the drugs down and taking care of his family was way more important.
Yeah.
And I loved to see stuff like that.
So the fruit that you see, the blessing you see, is in changed lives and positive affect on people's life. That leads them into hopefully a more stable, more fruitful experience of life themselves.
True.
That's really neat.
Oh yeah.
And that's got to give you a lot of joy.
Oh yeah.
Do you derive a lot of joy from seeing that happen?
Yeah, it helps to have joy for that, but for the days where there's all this little mess about what codes you put on paperwork. Oh, you put one number off. You got to go back and fix all this stuff. Are you kidding me? This thing isn't in the right section. And a lot of things with counselors is things have to be turned in within 24 hours of doing them. And when you have 30, 40 clients, that's a lot of paperwork and a lot of getting things done.
Sure.
And a lot of pressure.
Sounds like you need a stenographer to help. If only you
Just
could.
about. If only trust them. But with teaching online, it's been more sharing the experience and sharing some of the therapies that I know really do work with clients, to have people's minds open up to, oh, I didn't realize I was asking yes or no questions. I need to ask more open-ended questions. Knowing that if I listen attentively to my clients, that helps me build a rapport with them to believe that, for them to believe that I am trying to help them. I'm not just somebody writing down some stuff on a paper like, age, gender, address.
You haven't cracked the code of the human psyche. You are just getting to know them and be someone they can trust.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be able to get in any relationship, you got to build trust. And one of the ways you do that is you do have that good positive communication. And, when something comes up that the person really shares that they care about, and you dig deeper about why they care about that helps them build that level that they can talk to you about that kind of stuff. And then if you can connect that of what brought them to therapy in the first place, then you're really getting somewhere.
Well, that's good. Well, thank you for sharing those details about where we're going, the direction we're going with this podcast. I think that's going to be exciting for those who are hearing. I know that you have also written a book. Can you tell me a little bit about your book?
Okay, I had wondered if this was going to come up. Yeah, available on Amazon. Not that expensive at all. It's completely affordable. It's called Prepared to Fight. It is a book about Christian living, and it's about what do I do after I've been baptized? Because you've accepted Jesus, and all the hugs, and there's all the yay, we're so happy for you and your family and your friends, and let's go eat at the all you can eat place or whatever, and Monday you might be still, I'm spiritually high and stuff, but like Tuesday or Thursday you're like, but life is still the same, and I still have the same issues, and so the book is about how do I deal with life even though I'm a Christian? So how do I deal with it now?
Yeah,
because what you want to be doing is you're fighting from victory, not to victory, and to have that perspective change, that God is with me, He's in my corner, He's right beside me, instead of God is somewhere over there.
Yeah,
and to have that the Holy Spirit can work within us if we learn how to listen to His voice, and we learn how to choose Him, which what may very much so mean getting rid of things that say the other way, because there's going to always be that magnetic pull to go backwards. Because just because you suited up and said, hey, I'm on God's side, well, what you did there is you did two things. One, you signified to the enemy of everyone, all of humans, that wants to destroy us, you chose a side. And two, the other thing you told him is, I'm ready to fight. He's like, sure, okay, well, here it goes. Buckle up, bucko.
Yeah. Well, I feel like life, whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, is full of rites of passage.
True.
And a lot of times we think of the accomplishment, the receiving of the degree, or the getting married, or buying a house, or having a child as attaining the very blessing and gift of what has happened. I feel like your book illustrates well, it speaks really personally from your own life. First of all, I enjoyed reading just the personal journey you've had walking through your faith, as I read through those early chapters in the book, especially talk about a lot of that. But I feel like it helps highlight the importance that once you reach that and attain that rite of passage, you pass that one point. That's just entry into the beginning of a battle and a lifelong struggle that leads to victory, because it's already there in Christ Jesus. And I think we all need more cheerleaders, people in our lives who will tell us and remind us, oh, it's already been won. The victory is already there. And I think that a healthy counselor helps us see that at times, especially when we despair. I've really appreciated those people who have been encouraging counselors and not critical.
Right.
Which end of the spectrum do you tend towards more? And do you have to keep a healthy balance in your own life in order to?
Let me say, I'm going to say this the way one of my mentors, Dr. Trent, who died a long time ago now, said, it depends.
How do you decide that?
Well, you decide that based on your rapport with the person, and you see what they need. It's kind of like, on a team, for someone to have the confidence to make that shot, that basketball shot. Yeah, some people you just say, I believe you can do it. You're going to be fine. We're going to set you up. Here's the play. You be in this spot. You take the shot, right? Other people, you have to rah. You can do this. Come on, and buck up and and that works with them. And then somebody else, you might have to be like, don't you want, there's scouts here. Come on, just show up. Come on, show up, show out. And that works with it. It just depends on the person.
I think for me, you'd have to use reverse psychology. So you're not allowed to shoot, and then I'll probably go.
Okay.
Just teasing. And there are
what
people.
Sam said.
That's what Sam tells me all the time. Yeah. Shout out to Sam if you're watching. You made it this far. You are a true fan. Thank you, Sam.
That's true.
Just as a wrap up, where do you think we're going from here? Where are we going from here?
Well, to wrap everything up, hopefully in a pretty little bow, is I'd like this just to be the beginning, and to have different people who are either in a ministry that's helpful to the community, that is a counselor that serves the community as a Christian counselor, or even someone that's part of an agency that is funded or supported by Christian organizations or other churches, such as Hope Inspired, to be on here and talk about it, so that people know that these resources are here. I mean, surely at Landmark people know about Hope Inspired, but that doesn't mean that everybody else in the community does.
No, and the hope is to reach people well beyond probably the reach that you have physically in this place. So that would be great if we got more people involved, informed, and connected with good counseling.
All right.
And I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes from here.
We'll see.
I probably won't be with you on the next journey you make, but I'm sure that I'll be following along on the podcast. So
sure, man.
It was really a pleasure to talk with you, Patrick, and I'm really thankful for you. Listen in, tune in, guys. Like, subscribe, follow, anything that you can. Because I think that we've got a real treasure here. I hope you have a blessed day, that your mind is blessed in Christ Jesus. Any last words you'd like to leave with us before we sign off tonight?
Well, the thing I want to sign off with every time is just remember, the best of the story is that God is on your side, despite all the negative, that if you are a follower of Jesus and that you believe and hope and trust in him, things can and will get better. Maybe not in the way that you want it to, but God is on your side, and that's always going to be the best of the story.
All right, folks, you heard it here. Go check it out in the Bible if you're not sure.
That's right.
But thank you, Patrick.
Yep. Thank you, Andrew.